Welcome to Double Drivel, an NBA podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of Double Drivel. We are a weekly podcast offering a fan's perspective on the news and issues surrounding the NBA. Thank you for joining us. My name is Greg, and I'm joined as always by my co-host JT. You can find us on Twitter at Double Dribblers or email us at doubledrivelpodcast@gmail.com. JT, what up, my friend?
Hello, Greg. Happy Saturday. Another beautiful California day here. How's it going over there?
It's another day here that is looking like it has some potential, warming up a little bit, and hoping for the best. It's got to get warm eventually, right? Easter's almost here. My God.
Love Easter. I love the Cadbury cream eggs. One of my favorite.
Bought one today. I ate one already today.
Ooh, devil you. I love those. One year, I asked for an Easter basket with nothing but those inside.
Did you know they're $1 a piece now?
That sounds like a pre-Easter price, because post-Easter, we all know you pay $3 for $1 for those.
Yes. So $1 a piece, and they're smaller than they used to be.
Fuckers. Fucking fuckers.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be breaking news here to you, but yeah, they sized them down a couple years ago. Noticeable, too.
Terrible.
So we have some good stories this week. We have injuries to talk about. We have Westbrook, who looked like he was dunking so hard he could have injured himself. And, of course, some Utah Jazz news. But we're going to start with the Kevin Durant Bill Simmons interview. And I know, JT, you listened to both parts of it. I just listened to the first part. But we both had similar takeaways from it. What did you think of the interview?
I thought it was very, very interesting. I am a Kevin Durant fan. I always have been. I think that he is a kind of a really a multi-layered player. But this was a very defensive kind of approach he brought to this interview. It almost seemed to me like he was just walked into this ready to be challenged and was just, there was a couple answers he just kept repeating by default, I felt, when he was particularly challenged, and he would just say, I'm just trying to be a great basketball player. I want to make shots from anywhere, that kind of thing. But couldn't get past that definite level of defense that he had coming into this thing. Did you feel that as well?
Absolutely. He was defensive in almost every way he could be. Little things that annoyed me, like he wouldn't even really listen to the question. Like his handler, who the guy that was there also, his business partner, who his name isn't coming to me at the moment, but he even a couple times was like, Kev, he means blah, 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 or we're talking about blah, blah. Like he was instantly getting defensive about it. And this is the 5th interview that they've had together. So you figure he might be comfortable, but there's something that he's doing, or there's some way that he's feeling that's making him feel this defensiveness, because it wasn't even necessary half the time. He was just coming out with it. He was almost looking for a fight, like you said. And one way he was looking for a fight was when Bill was trying to compare players to other players. For example, Donovan Mitchell, he said, had little things that he could see that were like Dwayne Wade, when he was younger. Kevin Durant stomped that out immediately and just had to say, he's his own man. He's his own man. He's his own player. Listen, relax. Nobody's, just relax. That's what you do in sports. You see bits and pieces of somebody's game, you compare it to somebody else's game, and that's how you draw distinctions or even explain it to people what they're looking at or why you think that this person's special.
Absolutely. And he took exception to what he called blog boys.
Yeah. I felt like that was a shout out. I was so excited. I was driving in my car and I'm like, yeah.
I might like to take the chance, Greg, to coin the phrase podcast pals, which
there you go.
Might suit us a little better than blog boys. And it is kind of funny, the fact that you only listened to half the interview, which is kind of the thing that KD was taking exception of, saying that Bill Simmons doesn't even watch some of these games, or you blog boys don't even watch some of these games, and still you have all these strong opinions. So, point of order to Kevin Durant. Greg did not listen to the whole interview, and that point stands. And also,
Yes. In my defense, though, if I have 2.5 hours in my life to listen to Kevin Durant be a little bitch about things, God, I'd get a lot more done.
KD does not like analytics also, which I kind of understand, but there comes a point when I mean, numbers are numbers, and if you have all these figures that are able to more precisely break down the different areas of the game, isn't it a mistake to not even like take a partial interest in those things? I think I get where he's coming from, because the analytics can be overwhelming sometimes with these strange stats that they're able to extract and put together. But to say you're not a fan of analytics, I think is kind of like just turning a blind eye to information that's available.
He is going to end up higher on the greatest players of all time list because of analytics. People will look at his stats, and that's how he will be judged. And I'm sure he won't have a problem with that when he's put on the pedestal, after his career, when they say, wow, he was a great player. If he keeps going at the pace he is, he's going to be great, but it's going to be even greater because of all the stats that we have and recency bias and all sorts of other things. And I just don't feel like he's going to have the same issue with it when it gets to that point of judging him or getting him any sort of, accolades after the fact. Because he obviously wants the attention. He wants to be acknowledged like he's a great player. And if you don't acknowledge him like that, or even just the degree that he wanted to, he would, just wait and kind of push back a little and just kind of push Bill to say something that he wanted to hear about himself or how his game was great. And he wouldn't even acknowledge that he worked on his defense at first, when then later in the interview, he acknowledged that defense was something that was important to him. But it took Bill having to pull it out of him, like, what's with all the blocks and all, like, it seems like you're trying harder on defense. I'm not trying harder on defense. Like, but yet you are, and there's proof because of analytics.
Yeah. I think one thing I noticed, and I noted to myself, was that it just perhaps a lack of introspection. He seemed, and maybe a little bit of a lack of consistency in his thoughts and actions, which is kind of why I don't think he does this without his handler there, because he kept, as you mentioned, Greg, the handler kept having to chime in and be like, "Well, Kev, we did do this particular thing," and not like in a forceful way, but just kind of keeping him aligned with himself. I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily. I mean, if you're at this level and you're doing this well in your career and everything, you have all these resources available to you. You have your people that are there to keep you in check. But the lack of introspection, I couldn't get past that. The defensiveness kind of overshadowed his ability to kind of like dig in a little bit.
He was really feeling himself too with some of those comments about how he was an investor and how I don't even like doing commercials anymore. That's not even what I don't like anything about that. I need to, like he's playing some other game, like he's big time. I just, like he said himself, worry about basketball. Basketball pays for everything else. You don't have to get involved in everything right now. I mean, sure, he's probably got a lot of opportunities and a lot of things coming at him all the time, but I don't think that he's got the knowledge, and that's why this handler is, right there and is who he is, because if he wants to be this guy that he wants to be, he needs people around him that can do the actual work, because I don't think he's consistent enough, like you said, or, maybe even has the time to pay the attention to it that it needs. It's probably just that. I'm not saying he's a dumb guy. He can probably do whatever he wants, but he's kind of busy at the moment.
Yeah. All right. Two more things I want to hit on the KD interview. He's had 5 ejections this season so far, Greg. One of them just a couple days ago. And there's a quote from KD. "It's just my emotions and passion for the game. After that championship, I thought it would fill some sort of void, but it didn't." End quote. Now, I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know if this is why you're getting ejected from the games. I don't know. This seems more of an excuse to me. What do you think?
I think that, like everything else, when you finally get what you've been trying to get your whole life, you're working towards. I mean, to be an NBA player, you've been doing this and playing basketball for as long as you can remember. And to finally get there and to finally get the title and finally hold the trophy, nothing actually changes. Nothing's different. You're just a guy that's won a championship. And I just think that like he said, I just think that there's a void there. That's just human. That when you get what you want, it doesn't do anything for you or really change you. So, he tried to change his game up. Like he said, he's playing harder on defense. He's acting like he's a tough guy with these ejections. And the ejection the other day, it's not even like he got into it with a player. He just got nasty on a referee who just turned and threw his ass out. Because, I'm not putting up with this shit. I don't care who you are. Fuck out of here with that shit.
He's fired up. You could see, spit and stuff coming out of his mouth. He was, foaming.
Yeah, I just think he's trying some other stuff because it left him, wanting more. But there's nothing else for him to attain. I mean, he can get a few championships, but still, what does it change? He said it himself. He went to Taco Bell. You want to go into that, Mr. Mr. Taco Bell? I know you're a huge fan.
I thought it was very interesting. Katie mentioned this during the interview. He had an experience of existential clarity by way of Taco Bell, the fast food franchise. So it was after a nice meal at Taco Bell, I'm talking immediately after they won the championship. Katie got some nice things, and he ate them, and it, quote, ran through him like it would of anyone else. And it surprised him because he thought he had a golden stomach, Greg. And it was after this experience that he was able to relate more closely with the Gen Pop, folks like you and I.
Yes, that he is no different. He's just a guy, like he said, that's just a little better at basketball than everybody else. But yeah, I love Taco Bell. But if you just won a championship, is that the first thing that you're doing? Running out to Taco Bell? That just seems like, he's acting like he can't believe his life didn't change. But if you would have gone out to Taco Bell, whether you'd won the championship or not, your life really didn't change. You're not doing anything differently. So, like you said, I think he realized that, oh my God, this is no different. But I don't think that has anything to do with the attitude. The attitude just came out of nowhere, and it's kind of crazy. Maybe he's hanging out with Draymond too much. Is he getting him a little too fired up?
Hard to say. It's definitely a different flavor of KD post OKC. And as he mentioned in the interview, he could do no wrong when he was in OKC, but after he left, he was cast in a different light, and that's fair enough because he was.
Yeah, and he had a lot of positive things to say about Westbrook, so that's good too because it's true. Westbrook, great player, and at least he can acknowledge that they're not beefing or anything. So we're long past that. Any other insane comments he made during the interview that I may have missed?
I think we hit on some of the high notes.
All right. While we're on the topic of Westbrook, we'll just get to that quick. He had a dunk last night that will probably be on some highlight reels for a while. He almost went through the damn backboard. That guy, he's not big, but he jumps. It's just amazing.
It looks like he's being launched. And you hear that being said sometimes as a matter of figurative language, but no fucking shit. It looks like this guy is being launched by way of trampoline or catapult or something. And it's just crazy to see. It's incredible.
Yeah. And he plays angry, but he doesn't get thrown out. So that's where I think Durant should look at him a little more and say, how can I play with that intensity, but I don't necessarily need to scream at refs or go nuts or anything like that to, have that intensity.
Baby. Oh, if KD could hear you trying to compare him to Russell, oh my God, he would be fired the fuck up.
That's it. Shut up, blog boy. Shut up, he'd be saying. Shut your mouth, podcast pal.
It was a night for dunks last night, Greg, and the only dunk that was more violent and more stunning than Russell Westbrook's was Joe Sloppy Ingles getting just filthy with a one-handed just tomahawk slam
When I think of high flyers, Joe Ingles is always one of the guys.
After which Joe Ingles gave a roar to his opponent in the crowd. It was incredible. I mean, it was fireworks.
What spot are the Jazz in? They 8th, or are they going to make 7th? What's the playoffs looking like?
They could not make the playoffs just as easily as they could make 6th. So it's like we're in this area right now. It's day to day. Right now we're sitting at 8th, but you look at it. It's all tied. It's like 6, 7, 8, 9 is pretty much all tied. So I'm not, no predictions for me yet on where we fall. But if we get in, that'll be a huge win. Regardless, I don't give a fuck where it is.
So you watched a lot of games or paid attention to a lot of games in the West this year. Do you think it was as good as advertised, as everyone thought it was going to be, compared to the East?
Absolutely. I mean, the first 6 weeks of the season were not like the fireworks that everyone was anticipating, but after that, it took shape, and it definitely was. It was what we were saying it was going to be. Better than the East for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. But things tend to, like Indiana was a surprise, as good as they've been. So I mean, things do pop up, unexpected things happen, but a lot of good players in the West. So I guess that had to be expected. Couple players that are in the East and not playing are Joel Embiid and Blake Griffin. Now, man, I saw that Blake Griffin was out, and if that's news to anybody or a shock to anybody, then I mean you haven't been paying attention to the guy's career. But the Detroit is useless now. I mean, they didn't have much going for them, but they got nothing now. And the 76ers, Joel Embiid being injured in some sort of way is not shocking. But he has an actual injury now and not just like a doesn't play a couple games in a row injury. Orbital bone fracture. Now that's his eye, correct?
Yeah, it's like the little housing your eyeball sits in, the bone.
Oh, God. So, yeah. And Blake's got a broken ankle or broken something in the foot area. So he's going to be out. And that's not good. The 76ers have been everybody's little favorite going into the playoffs. So this is certainly going to hurt that unless he gets back in time. He's going to wear a mask, though. I mean, you'd have to. So I feel like other guys that have these injuries, you come back with a mask. Oh, God. All we're going to have is Embiid with the mask on Twitter and everybody posting nonstop. That drives me nuts. This guy gets the best coverage of anybody. Even in the Durant interview, they mention, oh, my God, Embiid playing at the end of the All-Star game. Oh, my God. Like, anyone that would have been out there would have looked like they were the goddamn man because of everyone else that was around there. The guy's just getting a free ride. He needs to play up to this potential before I just deal with this all the time. Just so much riding on this guy.
Yeah. We know how you feel about Embiid, Greg.
Oh, my God. It just drives me nuts. But like every week, there's a story about this guy. He's either broken something or saying something or whatever.
I mean, they are playoff bound. He did trust the process. Here we are. So let's see if they can make some waves in the playoffs. Will you come around a little bit? Maybe show him a little love?
We'll see. We'll see how you feel when Ben Simmons steals the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Why are you bringing? One thing has nothing to do with the other. You fuck.
Oh yeah. No.
Simmons into it. We're talking about it.
Yeah. No. I think you'd be a little less understanding of the 76ers when you lose the Rookie of the Year.
I feel like you're manipulating me for an alliance. Some Game of Thrones shit going on.
We'll see. All right. And
so, Greg,
what?
If I could, I thought we could do a couple shout outs, things we haven't done before, for people that have been helpful for us to get to this point where we are, which is, this is episode 25, 26, something like that.
26 now.
Viewership is increasing and the Twitter followers are increasing. I think I wanted to do a nice shout out to our unpaid intern, Mitch, who has just been grinding out some social media posts and polls and doing it all out of the kindness of his intern heart. So shout out to Mitch, a member of the team, and we couldn't do it without you.
No. Instagram looking great. Thanks, Mitch.
Yes, I think we keep forgetting to mention the Instagram presence, Greg. So maybe we tie that into our bundled social media platforms.
I think that's a great idea.
And one more real quick.
Please, my God.
Shout out to Beeler MJ on Instagram for sending us the Blog Boys article on The Ringer. We appreciate that, and we appreciate you listening.
Absolutely. Like they always say, where would we be without the listeners, you know? All right, well, and let's get back to the normal stuff. I think it's time for Flashback. And we're going to flash back to March 31st, 1982. All right. On this date today, March 31st, 1982, the NBA and the Players Association reached a 4-year agreement that included a revenue sharing plan, the first of its kind in team sports. Players received 53% of the revenues starting for the 84-85 season in return for minimum and maximum payrolls. Now, that is basically the basis for all the other sports and everything that we have now. Came just in 1982, which really wasn't that long ago. So I can't imagine what sports and payrolls and everything were like before that.
That you just get paid whatever the fuck the owners want to pay you. I think like kind of how the UFC does it now, Greg. Like you don't get a percentage of anything. You get $10,000 to play, and that's it for a certain term period. So I'm sure it was shitty before this. And like you said, this kind of sets the framework for revenue sharing programs for all the sports. So, you know, this was a good time to be an NBA player. Post this taking place, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything started to change after that. And then the TV money that started to come in, I'm sure this got beyond what anyone ever imagined it would be as far as money. And the players, you know, they're making out. If it's a revenue sharing, it makes everyone's incentive to make everything better. So that's good. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what you want. All right, now time for predictions. All right, JT. Sticking with an earlier topic, will Taco Bell introduce a KD menu item?
Well, I don't think the question is will they, Greg. I think they definitely will, yes. But what will it be? And I have a couple ideas to explore if you're interested.
I'm very interested, but will they be happy with the idea that the way he described Taco Bell was like everybody knows how it just goes right through you? I mean, is that something they're going to be like, oh yeah, we got to get a piece of this action while we're in the news?
Well, as he said, it perhaps it is the tie that binds us all together. Is that we share this thing?
There aren't many shared experiences anymore, and that certainly is one.
Okay, so if they had a KD menu item, I thought maybe would it be like the Kevin Dia Crunchwrap? I thought about the cheesy KD Chalupa Volcano. I arrived at the KD Spicy Chicken Jimbo, Greg.
Whoa.
The chicken Jimbo, which would be a tortilla and then some spicy chicken in it, maybe some cheese, and then another tortilla on top, and it would be sort of pressed in a way that there would be like soft spots and then also crunchy spots, and perhaps like little bursts of, salty bursts kind of layered throughout. What do you think? Does it sound
almost like a McGriddle, how it has the little things of the syrup there? You would have little things of salt.
The what?
Like a McGriddle? Are you not familiar with the McGriddle?
Nah, man, you can't call this anything else other than a chicken Jimbo. Like, you can't compare foods, man. All right? Like, I don't know why you guys need to do that. There's nothing else like this. Okay, it's a Jimbo, right, man. Let it be a Jimbo.
That's very good. That's some good that's good satire. Well, so yes, you. I enjoy that. Is this something, because he said he doesn't like to do commercials, so they're going to have to do this without him, they're
going to have to do it on the slide.
Officially a part of it.
Yeah. You're going to have to sneak it out. They're going to ride dirty with the chicken Jimbo.
That's good stuff. And let's not forget that they were also the winner of the franchise wars. And fans of the classic Demolition Man will know what I'm talking about with that one.
My reward is dinner and dancing at Taco Bell. I mean, hey, I like Mexican food, but come on.
Your tone is quasi-facetious, but you do not realize that Taco Bell was the only restaurant to survive the franchise wars.
So?
So? Now all restaurants are Taco Bell.
No way.
All right. Another great episode, JT.
All right, my friend. Very good.
We'll be back next week with another episode. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter at Double Dribblers or email us at doubledrivelpodcast@gmail.com. Subscribe to the show on iTunes, Podbean, or Google Play. And don't forget to check us out also on YouTube and Instagram. A lot of great stuff going on Instagram. Thanks to Mitch on that. And until next week, we'll see you on the internet.